Hello, Victor Drozdov, Head of IR of Polyus. It's such a pleasure to have you here with us today. Let me start by saying first, congratulations to winning the overall second position in the metals and mining category for the Emerging Executive Team Survey. What a fantastic achievement, with a first for the CEO, a second for the CFO, a first for yourself, which is fantastic, as well as the IR program. Tell us a little bit about how those awards resonate with the company and what do they mean to you?
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for the invitation. That's clearly a vote of confidence, especially with the fact that we're trying, like each and every day, we are trying to further enhance our effort and trying to do more, to do this extra step every time. So for sure, that's a great achievement of the of my team, of IR team. That's a great achievement of a broader management team, because in our case we do have top management team actively involved in communication with investors. But at the same time, we need to admit that there is no other option for us to get a quantitative assessment of what we are doing and the kind of quantitative assessment of those qualitative KPIs we're setting in front of ourselves. So for that reason, this particular rating is the only option for us to get an understanding of whether investors are happy with what we are doing. And mainly due to that reason, one of our KPIs, one of our official KPIs for the IR team, that's getting into top 5 at institutional investor rating.
Fantastic. And you've achieved it this year, and it has taken a few years to get to that point. But like you said, it's all about credibility and building trust, and you're at that point now. Can you guide us a little bit through your IR practices, and in particularly, how have they changed since last year?
Threat of pandemic, of course, we started having more of a virtual format in our life. But it's not only about that. Look, to start with, one of our operations back in May 2020 been hit hard with the spread of the virus. So what we've done, we actually doubled the amount of communication effort. We doubled the amount of those calls with investors. We started publishing updates on a weekly basis. We launched a separate page on our website to fully cover all the developments at those operations. So we are happy that we are already past that those unfortunate developments and learned our lessons well. So the key thing back then was to properly communicate, and not only to properly communicate, but just to communicate, constantly talk to the market. And that's the key thing you should be doing in when it comes to some sort of crisis communications. So that was back in May and June last year. At the same time, and getting back to the virtual format, so we've in order to improve the quality of and to further increase the amount of information markets are getting from us and investors are getting from us, we launched several new initiatives internally. So first of all, we started to send out on either weekly or bi-weekly basis. We started to send out some sort of updates to the market, which are called Thoughts Out of the Pit, which cover some specific either issues or topics which are on everyone's mind right now at that very moment. So we provide some additional statistics, some additional data, which we usually gather from different sources. Though those sources are public, it's not that easy to make some sort of a user-friendly format. We provide investors with an option to look at the data and to kind of easily understand it. Yeah, so that's the one. That's the first thing. On top of that, we've launched a series of discussions with heads of different departments within the company. So we are running some sort of virtual group meetings with investors with the help of different investment banks. And in that way, investors are getting more access to the company than ever. Because before that, we usually have been running meetings with either IR team only or top managers of the company. So yeah, so now the market has an option to even better understand the work of our engineering department, mineral resources department, even controlling department. Yeah, and on top of that, the third one, already this year in 2021, we are currently planning to host a virtual site visit to one of our operations, which is located quite far, I'd say far away from Moscow. It's like 9-hour flight from Moscow to the Russian Far East. And the virtual format will definitely help investors to get there and to make sure that they are able to allocate some proper amount of their time to visit this asset. Yeah, so that's what we've been focused on. Yeah.
Yeah. How exciting to be able to see that site. Would probably normally not go there if physical meetings were possible, right? So far.
I hope not. I mean, I'm pretty sure that there are some huge fans of gold mining industry, but in that way, that's gonna be much easier for everyone to get there. Yeah.
Fantastic. What a great initiative. I mean, obviously, ESG is an area that is of growing importance, and the sector that you're specifically in is obviously impacted in various ways, I guess primarily also from an environmental point of view, as you mentioned. You've also been ranked very highly in the survey based on the evaluation of buy side and sell side on the ESG metrics as part of your engagement and communication. Share with us a little bit where you're at in terms of your ESG journey, and how is that aligned with the investors, and what are the kind of challenges that you're facing?
ESG approach is within the company's DNA. Historically, we've been extremely focused on introducing some ESG related initiatives or internal policies within the company, not actually knowing this term ESG. That was like that started like 5 or 6 years ago. At the same time, back 2 or 3 years ago, we've finally started some sort of proactive communication with the ESG ratings and ESG ranking agencies. So yeah, for that reason, I definitely should kind of break this journey into two parts. On the one hand, you do have those fundamental changes which the company is running, fundamental initiatives which the company is running, and here we do have the entire spectrum of different initiatives with for example with a climate change strategy currently being developed within the company, and we're gonna introduce the results of the development of this strategy by the end of 2021. On top of that, we're gonna publish a water report this year, the first one ever within the for the company. At the same time, the second part, that's the communication side, and it doesn't matter whether the company is performing well or not on the fundamental side. The company should be in a position to properly convey this message, to properly communicate this message to the market. And one of the ways to do that is to proactively engage with work with rating agencies. So Polyus is ranked is one of the highest ranked companies by most of the key ESG rating providers in Russia and among global gold majors. So which actually helps us to knock on the doors of most of investors globally. And that's one of the right now, I do agree with you that ESG becomes one of the key prerequisites for any investor globally to invest into, especially into mining sector. And it's not about whether we are able to attract new investors or specifically ESG focused investors. It's about maintaining our ability to talk to our regular investors, like generalists, We haven't historically been looking on ESG side that much. And everything is changing now. So for that reason, the company should adjust its practices. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely agreed. And within that context, obviously governance is quite key, making sure that you have the right structures in place, which is important for investors. Share with us your view on corporate governance at Polyus.
So to start with, we do have 4 out of 9 directors on the board. Those are independent directors. The board of directors is chaired by independent director as well. All of the committees, those are chaired by independent directors. So in that case, we are pretty much in line with the best practices and key requirements by both Moscow Stock Exchange and London Stock Exchange. At the same time, it's not about the composition of the board. It's about the level at which those independent directors are involved in communications with the market. And like in our case, we've historically been running several roadshows for our independent directors to bring them to investors either in London or in New York. So we've historically been running those meetings. We've been providing the market with an opportunity to talk not only to the management team but also to board of directors. And those guys are usually able to share their knowledge on both mining industry and share their expertise from both mining industry and buy side industry. So yes, that's a unique option of which I'm not really sure whether many other companies are providing to investors or not. Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. You've just mentioned also the site visit that you're organizing virtually. This is obviously a great way of using technology to bring the story closer to your investors. What are the other tools and tips that you have in terms of investor relations, digitization? And
virtual roadshow, that's for sure. That's going to be tough. That's the first time ever for the company. And I'm pretty sure that next year I will be able to give you some sort of an update on this one. At the same time, look, as for some new or advanced technologies we are using in our day-to-day work as an IR team, I'll definitely mention different types of CRM systems and different types of targeting tools. That's a proper tool to invest into. And on the one hand, especially last year, we've been able to further expand the list of those tools we are using, the list of those analytical tools we are using, with the fact that we've been able to reallocate travel budgets. But I'm pretty sure that even going forward, we're gonna keep using those kind of due to the fact that we do understand that those are actually helping us and those are actually working. So the targeting tools and CRM, it helps us to answer some of the key questions to any IR manager. So the first one, whom you need to talk to. With those tools in place and with our in-house corporate access system, which we're developing over the course of the last couple of years, we know exactly well whom should we talk to and what should we tell them, how to properly adjust the message, what sort of communication tools to use. Either that's just us sending out some additional information to the market, or that's actually a meeting to be scheduled, or that's a meeting with our engineering team to be scheduled for that particular account. So yeah, so all of those tools, they help us to build a structure. And a good example will be that if you take a look at the targeting list, which we initially built for 2020, I'd say that 2/3 of the lists, those are currently on the shareholder register. So that's kind of those tools, they help us to properly build the plan and then to start executing the plan. Yeah.
Very good. And I guess you've obviously been on the research side before. You were a sell side analyst for a number of years. You moved now into the IR space. What are the absolute must-haves to make sure that you run an effective IR program?
Every person getting into IR profession should be ready to adjust his habits. Should be ready to learn some new skills. I'm pretty sure that back like 7 years ago, I haven't been thinking of developing this in-house corporate access. So the constant dialogue with the market and constant dialogue with brokers. That's what helped me to that's what made me get closer to that idea to launch this process internally. It's about a constant development of those products. No one should rely only on successful historical practices. Everyone should be constantly evolving. And that's what I usually tell to every member of my team. It doesn't necessarily mean that due to the fact that the report was good enough back like last year, it doesn't necessarily mean that we should not be adjusting it further. Yeah. The second one, and that's answering your question on the communication with executive team. Please make sure that your executive team rested assured that they know what the market is thinking about the company. Because by the end of the day, the key purpose, the key goal for IR manager is not to talk to investors. It's the main goal is to talk to the management team and tell them what investors are thinking. Yeah, so that's the second one, and that's it.
Yeah, well, very important two pieces of advice, I would say. Now we move on to get to know Victor Drozdov a little bit on the personal level, if we may, Victor. And I have a few questions for you. The first one is, name a historical figure that you would like to meet, and tell us what would you ask them.
I usually struggle with answering this question. So if I may, I would prefer to have a group meeting rather than one-on-one. And if I may, having this group meeting, I'd say that I would probably talk to those guys who drafted U.S. Constitution, the founding fathers. Yeah. And ask them how dare those guys been to go against the system and act proactively. Yeah.
Very good, very good. The second one is, who is your favorite band or singer?
That's the easy one. I mean, I'm a huge country music fan. So that should definitely be Luke Combs.
Okay, fantastic, brilliant. And which quote from a movie do you use on a daily basis?
Carpe diem, seize the day.
Seize the day.
Yeah, that's from Dead Poets Society, yeah, starring amazing Robin Williams.
Yeah, very good. Which book did you read last?
The funny thing is that I'm not sure whether I can say that I read this book. I listened to that book using with one of the apps. So that's the Lifespan by Dave Sinclair.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. And the last question for you is, for 2021, what are your resolutions or personal objectives?
The key personal objective for this year, and it takes into account the fact that my wife is pregnant now. So the key objective for me is to properly welcome my third child, who's going to be born in like a couple of months from now. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's going to be girls, something not that usual for our family. Yeah. So yeah, so that's my key objective for this year, to continue being a good father.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Well, congratulations in advance, I guess, and hope it all goes well. What a wonderful event to look forward to this year for you personally, as well as for your family. And congratulations on the fantastic achievement in the Emerging EMEA Executive Team 2020, with all the top ranked positions that you've had across all of the voting categories. It's a fantastic achievement. Very well done. Thank you very much for your time, Victor Drozdov. It has been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.